And she's Molly.
And we are...
I don't know her. The Book Besties.
Okay, this book uses language that can be hurtful to some and out of date when talking about those who are transgender and queer. Pretty much when it comes to the alphabet mafia in general. We here at the Book Besties do not condone this use of this kind of language in modern times. However, there may be use of it in this episode as we discuss this novel.
Right.
We are not intending to hurt feelings. We are using it in the context of this novel.
Right.
Anything that is snibbeted or taken out of context, please know we do not have that hate in our hearts. That's the closest I got to a Minnie Mouse voice.
That's so weird.
You picked me.
No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. I did not pick you. I am an introvert and you picked me. And I just said, okay.
Okay. And I am a piece of gum on your shoe that will never go away.
Yeah, it does feel that way sometimes.
I need to share with the group. Last week, I had a meltdown about, I was so surprised that Tom was colorblind. And then I realized I am dyslexic and dysgraphic and had held a job where I handled money and lots of words. Yeah. So the Coast Guard really knows how to pick them. Really knows how to pick them.
I feel like that's a joke that we can say because you and Tom were in the Coast Guard and I'm a Coast Guard spouse. But you do have to have really high levels of the whatever the test is that you guys have to take.
I had a waiver too.
ASVAB.
Yes, I had a waiver. My waiver was only for a handful of points. It was less than 6. So I really was on the line for yeoman. But yeah.
I'm pretty sure Tom missed one question on the ASVAB. That was it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Man is genius level. So.
He got accepted into the Coast Guard Academy and was intending to go to the academy and ended up his parents didn't really want him to be in the military. And so he went to college for a year, got out of college at the end of that year and said, I'm going to join the Coast Guard. So he did.
Boy knew what he wanted. Mm-hmm. That's good. You want to talk about this week's book? Because I have a lot of questions, 4 pages of questions.
Well, before we do, I am wearing another Carpe Librum shirt this week. I read banned books. Last week you said you got a tote.
I ordered my tote bag. It just came in the mail. I'm really excited about it. I feel like it's bigger than my other tote bag. I haven't compared them yet. But did you know they have a separate section for hoodies and sweatshirts? I thought it was a few here and there, when I went on the website. But there's a full page of different designs that some of the t-shirts still come in. So I thought that was really cool. And their website's constantly changing. So
since this winter doesn't ever want to end, you still need hoodies right now.
They're threatening snow for March.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
I refuse.
So you can use our code.
I rebuke you in the name of God. Isn't that what it goes?
Oh, Molly. You're so cute.
I tried, God. No work.
So I'm just going to move past that. You can use our code new things with an S on the end, 2026 for $5 off an order of $25 or more. And I like that the colors of the t-shirts are the more heather color as opposed to I think it just gives it more of a vintage vibe, which I like because of course the lettering is more like the keyboard style. It's like a typewriter style.
I love the keyboard shirts.
So new things 2026 for
and that's good till the end of the
year
season.
Or the rest of the season. Yeah, not the year.
Till May.
Till we finish season 10. So Yep.
So I want to talk about this book and be done with it because it broke my heart in so many different
let's show the book and tell them what we read.
We are talking about this week The Lilac People by Milo Todd.
I don't have a physical copy of it. I read the audiobook copy on Hoopla. Support local libraries. They are important.
They need you more than ever right now. Information is access. I have a warning I'd like to read before I get into the synopsis, if that's okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, this book uses language that can be hurtful to some and out of date when talking about those who are transgender and queer. Pretty much any when it comes to the alphabet mafia in general. We here at
Mm-hmm.
the Book Besties do not condone this use of this kind of language in modern times. However, there may be use of it in this episode as we discuss this novel.
Right.
We are not intending to hurt feelings. We are
Right.
using it in the context of this novel.
Right.
Anything that is snibbeted or taken out of context, please know we do not have that hate in our hearts.
Yeah. We are alphabet mafia here at Book Besties.
Seriously.
Molly is bi and I am an ally. And yeah.
We do not no. I would throw rocks.
Yeah.
As they did at Stonewall. Okay. In the
Yeah.
Lilac People, we bounce between before World War II is about to start in 1932 and as it ends in 1945. This story is unique in the fact that it isn't a traditional historical fiction. In this book, we follow Bertie, a trans man, and his partner Sophie. We meet them on a farm in Ulm, Germany. I kept saying that. It was a vocal stim for me that whole time. It was because fucking ADD, ADHD. When they have spent their duration of the war hiding, they find a body in their field who is in a camp uniform. And things move quickly from there. This story we follow Bertie as he goes from being joyful and living his best life in Berlin to escaping Berlin, Germany to remain safe even after the war.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the Lilac People.
The Lilac People.
The Lilac
So,
People.
I want to start before you ask questions by saying that we've said this many times on this show, historical fiction, not my thing.
Nope.
We have discovered that I like historical gothic stories. Like we read Anatomy and I like those because I like the creepy vibes with it.
And historical fantasy,
I like historical fantasy and a lot of romantasy in general and fantasy in general. Mm-hmm. It sort of has a historical vibe to it. I don't know why all the fantasy feels like we have to have it in, the times of King Arthur, but we do, except last week's book.
Or World War II. Like, why is everything World War II? I mean, I think this story is important and we're going to talk about that, but that's not the point of this conversation.
So the reason I wanted to say that is because when we talk about the rating, I think people will be really surprised to hear what I rated this.
My rating.
So there's a teaser. Stick around.
My rating isn't great either.
I rated it. Nope. We're gonna hold that. We're gonna
toss. Okay. So let's get into my questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
While I expected the Lilac People to be a queer historical fiction, I did not expect it to be this intense, real, and dark. What was your expectations of going into this novel?
I had no expectations because I didn't know what it was about. All I knew was that you picked it. I knew it was queer historical fiction. I didn't even know it was about a trans man. I didn't know any of that. The cover is really beautiful. Mm-hmm. I did not know the term Lilac People, which is a fault of mine, I guess. But now I do.
The audacity of you not to know that language.
Well, I read the whole LGBTQ history book last year, so I know a lot more language than I had a year ago.
But it's not your fault that you didn't know it, sweetie.
I'm not upset at myself for not knowing it. I just didn't know what this book was about, and I would have had more of an indication had I known that's what it was.
The terminology.
Yeah. So I had no expectation. Other than it was a man looking away, historical fiction.
I really thought it was about gay farmers based off the cover.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we've gotten into the habit of doing is just picking books by what they look like. We just see the cover, and we did this last week with the Grimoire Grammar School Parent Teacher Association. Mm-hmm. We picked that both on the cover and on the title, and
that has also bitten us on the ass time and time and again here on this pod.
Many times.
So it's a hit and miss, you know what I mean?
But the good news is because we go into things blind, we give an authentic review.
And our expectations are flat and even, you know what I mean? We don't have higher hopes. We're not...
Now,
hyping it up.
occasionally we do, because we have read some books that like we've seen on social media and we've wanted to read them because of the hype. And that also has bitten us in the ass.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. This is Milo Todd's first book. Do you think you'll read him again if he publishes?
I did not know his first book, but probably not. And it's not because it's a queer book. I read lots of queer books. It's because it's historical fiction. And if he writes historical fiction constantly, that's not going to be my thing.
I do not want any more sad books right now. And I did not expect this book to be so bloody heartbreaking that I couldn't, like, I was taking longer breaks than I normally do as someone that writes the for the questions for the week, and I was just like, nope. And
it really did break your heart right to the end too, because I thought something good was about to happen and it didn't. I thought something I kind of broke my heart right there again at the end. It's definitely a sad book, but I don't know how you write a happy World War II book.
I mean, Addison Armstrong gave us hope in hers.
But I think this book does give us hope too.
But I still left crying. I still left heartbroken.
I feel like you can be heartbroken and still have hope.
I don't know. I'm feeling all kinds of things right now, but that's because our world's on fire.
And I am angry.
Anyway, and I am very angry.
My human world, it is a mess.
As Piper and I have a sticker, and it's kind of our slogan. My stomach hurts and I'm mad at the government. My stomach hurts and I'm mad at the government, because my stomach always hurts and I'm always mad at the government. Okay. We start this novel in 1945 on a farm in Ulm, Germany. It has been 2 weeks since the Allies have defeated the Nazis, but things still don't feel safe.
Yeah.
We meet Bertie and Sophie when a stranger is found nearly dead on the farm and is in a Nazi prisoner's uniform. They also have a black triangle, and the triangle system comes up a lot in this.
Yeah.
They help the prisoner instead of leaving them. What did you think of this choice?
I don't see how they could just leave him in the field. I don't think they could. And I understand, like, it's a risk for them to take him in for sure. But number one, Bertie recognizes him. Yeah. And number two, it's a chance of redemption for them not getting Gert out. Which Gert saved them. Gert came to them and said, "Hey, you got to go." And then
but Gert also made it sound like he was right behind them. Gert made it sound like he was right behind them.
He clearly never made it, because they were there for the entirety of the war, even before the U.S. got involved. And they were at his grandparents' house, so they would have known.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you really have a choice in the matter. I mean, you do. You absolutely have a choice in the matter to shut your door and not help people. But that is not a good way to live your life.
I mean, in their current situation, especially the fact that they were hiding and using presumed names, it would have behooved them to reach out to the local government and be like, "There's a body in the field." You know what I mean? Like,
but he wasn't a body; he was alive,
right? But the other side of it, it could have been their saving grace and not being found. Maybe that American soldier wouldn't have been on their ass all the time if they handed over a prisoner, you know?
I think the American soldier still would have been on their ass.
Probably.
But here's the thing. I understand what you're saying, Molly, but that's just not the way I want the world to be.
I know that's not how I want the world to be either. And I
know that's the way that some people are, but we also have people who are out in the street protecting people from ICE who are getting murdered. So that's the people I want to believe in.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, who they were.
I would be the person dragging him into the house too. I would be. But my brain plays both sides. My brain goes, which avenue? I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I do.
Yeah.
I just want to believe that there are people that would be good.
I also want to believe that, truly. I want to take a minute to talk about the language used in this book for those who are transgender and queer and how they
Mhm.
are treated in the 1932 versus how they're treated in 1945.
Yeah.
Berlin feels almost safe with the
Mhm.
help of the doctor who runs the institute. But
Mhm.
there is some worries about safety as the brown shirts seem to be looking to hurt whoever they can in 1932.
Yeah, of
And
course.
the brown shirts are getting more and more numbers and it's getting bad.
Mhm.
When we're in 1945, it is worse. Those who are queer and in the camps are blah, 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 queer in any way are in camps. By the beginning of the book, we don't know how, but Birdie is safe.
Mhm.
There's a long way of starting this, so let's talk about it. Birdie had to reveal himself to a butcher in
Yeah.
32.
I did not like that.
Birdie's gets treated like a sideshow act at times where
Mhm.
he's like showing his parts off, working at the
Mhm.
institute. Um, but Birdie recently has had their breasts removed, and that's like really 1932 Berlin. That's pretty
Mhm.
huge for a trans person in that time.
Yeah.
But the language, you get transvestite, invert, you get all these awful, nasty, what I call nasty names.
Mhm.
For the language in this book is the language of the times.
Right.
How did this make you feel? How did looking at their world and what they were fighting for and what they were dealing with, what was this like for you?
The language didn't bother me because I knew going in, we get a trigger warning at the beginning from the
Yes.
author saying, "Hey, I'm using the language of the time." So it didn't really bother me. And
Mhm.
also, I know we don't use the term transvestite anymore, and that is a very antiquated thing, but I mean, Rocky Horror Picture Show, that's still a part of it. So
Yeah.
I wasn't like completely disgusted by that. I was very confused as to what an invert was because I didn't understand it. And I still remain a little confused because it seems like an invert is anything that isn't straight.
Yes. In that
So,
context, it made me think lesbian, right?
right. Well, because it's being referred to as Sophie. But here's the
Mhm.
thing Sophie, if she were a lesbian, she's with a man. Like, I
Yeah.
understand that he's a trans man and he's only had top surgery, so he still has a vagina.
Mhm.
But he's still a man in her eyes
Yeah.
and in his own
Yeah.
eyes. So I don't,
In his heart, as Bertie
yeah,
likes to say, he was born with a man's heart,
yeah.
which I
And
love that. Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, I mean, to me, I didn't really, I just, they didn't have the language that we have now where we have so many other words
Mhm.
for similar things. Like I've gone down a rabbit hole to try to figure out the difference in some of these things. And sometimes I just don't get it. And then I have to go, you know what? That's not my circus, not my monkeys. Like
No.
I don't need to tell you how to define yourself. Um,
No.
but yeah, I mean, the language didn't bother me. I knew that Berlin was very progressive. It still is now. I mean, there was definitely a
Mhm.
time in which Berlin was not progressive because it was under communist rule for a while.
Mhm.
And of course, it was under Nazi rule. But Berlin was, I know we're going to talk more about this in a little bit, but the Institute in this book, that was in Berlin.
Yeah.
They were doing active work to try to make things better for the trans community
Yeah.
before we even were accepting. And this is one of those things that, like, when I read the LGBTQ history book last year, this is one of the reasons I read it because so many people are like, "Oh, trans is new. This is like a new hype." And I'm not going to say that there aren't people who are like going on the train because it's cool, but
Right.
I am going to say that it's not new. It's not new.
No. Hawaiians, the Samoans have a word for the third. They call it the third sex because, right, a third sex. The Mayans, a lot of Native American cultures.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
not a new thing to be
It's not a new
transgender. It's
thing.
not a new thing to be multigender.
It's not a new thing to be queer in general. It's just
No.
that what happened was white colonialism.
Yeah.
And so white Christian colonialism, which basically
Mm-hmm.
told everyone, you're wrong, you have to be like this. And as someone that's been going through the deconstructing process for the past year,
Mm-hmm.
deconstructing my faith and really coming to terms with things that I believe that I no longer think are accurate. Um,
Yes.
if you are somebody like me who is going through this process and curious, I do recommend the LGBTQ history book. It did take me 2 full months to read
I'll
it
put a link
because,
for it
yeah,
because it's wonderful.
and I got it from the library, and a content creator on TikTok who is a queer history PhD, she's the one that recommended it. Actually, I'm not sure if they use she or they pronouns, so I'm sorry about that. But I got the recommendation from there.
Mm-hmm.
I read it, and it really changed the way that I saw things. And so, honestly, I think it helped me understand this book better.
That's wonderful. Since we're talking about the Institute, let's jump to that question real quick.
Okay.
The Institute for Sexual Science was a real thing IRL.
Yep.
Magnus Hirschfeld
Mm-hmm.
didn't just do research in transgender surgery. He was also doing sciences of sex in general. He
Mm-hmm.
was working on safe abortions, uh, birth control, safe sex. He was working on helping with birth rates and infertility. He was going the whole gambit of sex. It
Yeah.
wasn't just a focus on the transgender and the queer community.
Right.
However, those are the people that found home there.
Right. And also he was the first to really start hormone replacement therapy.
Yep.
Um and he was the first to do the top surgery. Um
Yes. Yes.
and they had
He was an innovator and a huge
yeah.
ally.
Yeah. And
Huge ally.
here's the thing about that institute. Um
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of points in history that I think, what if that person was able to continue, what a different place
Mm-hmm.
this world would be. And I feel like that with this. What if he was
Yeah.
able to continue? What a different
I'm
world
going to
we'd
put a
have.
link that I found about the Museum of Sexual Science and
Mhm.
the things for you guys because it is so interesting and you should read about him and learn all about him because what he
Yeah.
did was amazing.
And people know more about Dr. Kinsey than they do about him.
Yeah.
That Kinsey was, I correct me if I'm wrong in the notes, Molly, but I think it was like 50s or 60s, and they made
Yeah.
a great movie about Kinsey. And he wasn't, his whole thing was that, for those of you that don't know, it's the Kinsey scale. So
Yes.
you're either completely in the middle, which is straight, 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 or you're far to one side, which is very, 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 wait, no, sorry. You're in the center, which is bi. You're onto one side, which is straight, and you're onto the other side, which is queer or
It's like
gay.
0 to 10 scale, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
And 0 would be the midway point of you could go either gender. And
yeah.
basically his hypothesis and what he was able to, quote unquote prove was that no one is really just straight. Most of the people have had some sort of queer thoughts or ideations or engagement. And one of the things he did that was very uncool was he was fucking his grad student, who was a man who was also fucking his wife. It's messy. It got messy.
Messy. So let's go back to talking about Berlin in 1932.
Yeah, good call.
Berlin 1932, there is a queer community that is living pretty freely and openly. We see it at the El Dorado Club that they're just living their best lives. Yeah. And it's reminiscent of gay clubs in cities like Miami and New York City where it is more open and easier. I'm not going to say it's not hard, easier to be queer in the public. But we're also seeing that it's also a tourist attraction for those coming into town.
Yeah, we
So
saw
not
that. We
only,
saw that in last night at the Telegraph Club as well.
yeah. What did you think of how modern Berlin was in 1932? Also, I didn't expect drugs to be so heavily used during this time frame. Like they were talking about cocaine a lot. Like a lot.
Yeah.
So, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Berlin was a very happening city. Berlin still has Berlin's nightlife is insane. I've
Yeah,
been to Berlin and
I've heard that.
you can like walk down the street and like see naked people on posters advertising like sex clubs and things. It's not at all like what it is in the
Like the
US.
insinuation of a possible strip club down the road on a highway.
No, it's like literally here is a naked woman, you can come to the sex club and have sex with naked woman. People talk about like the red light
Direct,
district,
yeah.
the red light district in
Direct,
like Amsterdam, but like
uh-huh.
Berlin's red light district and
Is most of Berlin.
yeah. And I've never been to any of the sex shops. Like I need to feel like I need to say that. Like I didn't go to any of those, but it's a lot of kink there.
Yeah.
Leather and chains and like the signs are
BDSM.
everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kink sex shops or sex clubs. And so it's not really surprising to me that it's like that. You also have to think about the fact that the generation of people who were Bert's age, they were kids during World War One, or they were babies at least. So they're in that generation that happens right after a war, in which everybody feels like they need to celebrate life. Right, right. So,
let's go wild, bitches.
Yeah. So that's what was happening.
I was shocked. I didn't realize. I guess I didn't know that part of Berlin history. I was so focused on pre-World War II and how much people were struggling. I didn't think about how much people might just be going balls to the wall.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying people weren't struggling after World War One. Their economy did have issues because they lost World War One, and then they lost World War II as well. But you know, there are so many times in history where the term "give them a common enemy," and that's how you seize power. And that's what Hitler did. He gave them a common enemy. And we tend to, in American schools, we tend to learn the common enemy was the Jews. And I'm not saying that's not true. They were definitely targeted hand over fist. And the murder of Jewish people was insane. But
horrific.
There were other cultures that were also in the concentration camps. And that's why I feel like this book is important because
you're seeing otherness. I'm glad we're talking about history. Let's talk about the end of chapter 3. Near the end of chapter 3, we're at the institute where Bertie is working, and he's been giving tours all day. He's surprised when Gertie shows up with Gertie's grandparents. Oma and Appa, is that what he said?
Oma and Appa.
Oma and Appa. And their conversation turns pretty serious to what's going outside, and the soon-to-be Nazis, the brown shirts, are outside protesting the Sex Institute. The conversation Oma and Appa have with Bertie and Gertie feels almost like something that could have taken place today in modern day in 2026.
Yeah.
You always say fiction can mirror our times or something of that nature. Those are your words. Let's talk about the importance of history and fiction now and the mirroring we find in this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. That part was surprising to me, to find this older couple, grandparents from a small town, be so wildly accepting of Gert.
They must love him
was
dearly.
Yeah.
They must have loved him dearly. Oh shoot. Sorry. it was just really close to the house. It was a crow. What got me about Oma and Appa is you can see their frustration.
Mm-hmm.
You can see their worry and their concerns. And it's like they'd seen that movie already. You know what I mean? They're like, I think I've seen this movie before. Like they know they can see what's happening, but they feel helpless.
Yeah.
And I understand that feeling so much right now.
Yeah.
That sense of helplessness when you're seeing a car crash slowly happen and there's nothing you can do about it. That helplessness right now is all I feel.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry to derail for a second, but it's Oma and Opa. I don't know why I said Appa. It's Oma and Opa.
Opa. Sorry.
Yeah. I took German, so I feel like Frau Ciccolani would be very mad at me if I don't correctly pronounce Oma.
Well, I'm glad you fixed it for us. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, the acceptance that their family had for Gert was amazing.
It was beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to when you were talking about how Birdie shows his body off.
Mm-hmm.
So in one of the early chapters, he talks about exchanging meat for showing his body to the butcher. Yeah. And in my mind, that was actually happening before he had top surgery. So he was dressed as a man.
Yep.
And had his transvestite card. And then would go to the butcher and reveal his naked body to the butcher. And
show that he was still a woman. Like he had woman parts. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, hell yeah, here's your fucking pork shank.
I can't imagine a pork shank of all the choices, Molly. I cannot imagine feeling like you look at your body and those parts don't belong to your body. And now you're using them because someone is basically using it to get their jollies off. Like that's what was happening. The butcher was looking at a woman's body. That's what he wanted.
Ogling her. Mm-hmm. He was ogling them, right?
Yeah.
And he was a sideshow attraction, which is heartbreaking. Because
and at the Institute,
he just wants to be a person,
right? And at the Institute, when he becomes what you are referring to as a sideshow attraction, I looked at that part differently. I felt like he was okay with showing the fact he had top surgery because, first of all, he now has the chest of a man, right? Mm-hmm. He now has the ability to walk around shirtless if he wanted to, and to be able to show that pride. I mean, the fact that they have like a wake for his breasts.
Dearly beloved, we gather here to say our goodbyes. That's Rent. I'm sorry.
I know. That's my favorite song from Rent.
Here she lies. I sing it all the time. Sorry. What got me was Birdie was willing to do whatever he could to progress science. Mm-hmm. And so Birdie was like, yes, if this is going to help more doctors, look at where my chest used to be. Look at the surgery scars. Look at and there is but it feels like a thin line, right? Because some of those doctors didn't all have, the same intentions. Mm-hmm. So
I know, but in some ways I almost think of it as a sense of pride for him. Like I think about when Elliot Page came out as trans, and I'm pretty sure Elliot Page uses he, him pronouns.
Yes,
he does. Took pictures of him in like swim shorts with no top on,
just a man's body, because that's how he feels.
And that freedom that he would get to experience to have been able to do that.
If you look at pictures of Elliot Page before and after, there is a light in their eyes now today that was not in their eyes as a child actor. And you can see what that transition has done for them. That confirmation and affirmation of feeling who you are in your own body. It's got to be magical. It's got to be magical. I would hope it would be magical. Okay. Let's jump back into my questions.
Okay.
We're in Ulm. It's 1945. The Americans have tracked down all the people in town and are making them go to the camp to see what the Germans have done. Look at what your people have done. There is one of the German soldiers who is very suspicious about Birdie, and he's constantly just showing up at the farm. Oh, I skipped my Carl question. I'm going to finish this first. The one that's suspicious about Birdie and constantly checking up on the farm. Did you know about the Americans punishing the German people afterwards? Did you know that they were detaining the black and pink triangles afterwards?
No, I didn't know any of that. It doesn't surprise me that they would do the look at what your people did.
Yeah.
It does feel very American of us to be like, we saved your asses from this. This is what your people did. Take responsibility for this. That feels very American.
That does.
But I did not know that we were still handing over for punishment queer people. Because
that upset me dearly.
It was a law thing. So they were saying that because it was illegal to be queer, that they had to be punished for that. And they agreed that the punishment that was received was not it was not a fair punishment, but they still had to punish them.
But they still have to serve it. It doesn't matter that you were being abused and used it for experiments and shown off and assaulted and not fed and nearly dead. You still have to go to jail, my friend.
Right.
That's horrific. That is horrific that we participated in that.
I agree, but here's the thing, Molly. It doesn't surprise me. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people in this country don't realize that we had a camp too. In the U.S., if you want to know more about it, George Takei was in the camp. And
oh my God.
You can read all his stories and you can listen to him do interviews and things. And
I believe it's in his documentary too.
Yeah, probably. But
I'll put some information about George Takei's life. But that was in Alabama. Yeah.
Alabama. I thought it was in. Are you sure?
It was in. Yeah, I believe it was in Alabama. It was in the South.
For some reason, I thought that it was in California.
They took them from California.
Well, that makes more sense. But Alabama seems like a weird choice. But doesn't matter. We can look it up later. But if you want to know more about it, follow George Takei's story. It was really interesting. Americans like to think that we're the good guys, but often we think that we're the good guys because we blow shit up.
There was the one he was at was in Arkansas.
Okay.
But the locations are California, Arizona, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, and Arkansas.
Yeah, that's more than I actually thought there were. So it's good to know.
Yeah.
And to be fair, our camps were not death camps like Auschwitz. They were not like that, but we were still rounding people up. And we have a history of doing that anyway. We round up Native Americans and put them in schools to make them assimilate and become like they're white.
Trail of Tears, man. It's horrific.
Yeah.
I can put some links about what we as Americans did in the things for you guys if you want to learn about it. This, like I said, this is a heartbreaking, but I want to talk about this soldier's need to pick on Birdie specifically while we're on this conversation.
Right.
Do you think they sensed Birdie's otherness, or do you think that
I think he just fuck Sophie? And the way he thought he was going to do it was emasculate the guy that was already smaller than him.
Yeah. Yeah. And they seemed nervous and they spoke very little English, so it was easy to take advantage.
Yeah. And honestly, the way that the American officer is portrayed in this book is like he thinks because I'm American, I should get to do whatever the fuck I want.
It's very true.
That's how he's portrayed in the book. I'm not saying that every American soldier or sailor is like that, but the character in the book
absolutely
was portrayed that way.
The character in the book was that way. I skipped a Carl question, so I want to jump back to it now.
Yeah.
Carl is the near dead prisoner in this story. And he slowly, he doesn't tell them almost anything for a while.
Well,
and
I don't blame him for that.
He slowly reveals his story to Sophie and Bert. And I don't feel like, even by the end of the story, I don't feel like we fully know Carl.
Mhm.
So, what are your thoughts on his journey throughout this book and him as a character in this story?
Can we talk specifically about what happened to him? Or do you
Please.
not want Okay.
No,
So,
go ahead.
um, I don't blame Carl for not being super forthcoming right away. Number one, he recognized Birdie, and
Yeah.
I think I think he thought, I recognize this guy. I know he was at the institute, but he could still turn me in. Like, he could very
Yeah.
much say, "Hey, I'm going to nurse you back to health," and then when I get in trouble, I'm going to turn you
Here.
in. So
Look, I
yeah,
actually held this bargaining chip.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's a lot of reasons for him to hold back, and that, coupled with the fact that he just went through an incredibly traumatic decade. Um,
Horrific. Yeah.
so what happened to Carl, with a K, which is the German spelling? What happened to Carl was that when he was still in Berlin, before he was
Mhm.
taken to the camp, um, the Nazis came to get him
Mhm.
and essentially made a bunch of other men who were queer um, rape him
A lot.
vaginally because he's a trans man. So there were several different people that thought they were going to be saving their own life by
Mhm.
raping Carl. And the Nazis killed them anyway. Then they
Yeah.
took Carl to the camp and essentially put him in the barracks for the officers
Mhm.
to go in and rape him
Whenever they
repeatedly,
wanted. Yeah.
whenever they wanted, multiple men per day. It was their way of getting release, for lack of a better word. And Carl was nothing but a hole. I mean, that's really
Yeah.
what it was. And they did it while saying things like, "You still think you're a man?" Like,
Mhm. And then
vulgar things.
when Carl got older, then they knocked him down to the enlisted
Yeah.
barracks where they were worse to him.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible what happens to Carl. And
And they
Carl
still wanted
is
him to keep all of his parts as they were because they kind of wanted him to procreate. They wanted him
they
to
were
get
hoping he
pregnant.
would.
Yeah.
They were hoping he would. And it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
luckily for Carl,
honestly, he does mention in there that when anyone did get pregnant, they rarely ever kept it. But I mean, under those circumstances, they're malnourished, they're
yeah.
physically assaulted, they're regularly raped
I mean,
repeatedly.
he even had an
Your body
officer who
would
was
probably not be able to sustain the pregnancy.
he even had an officer who was obsessed with him
Hmm.
and was like, "I love you. This is
Yeah,
like
like wanted to cuddle him after.
and take care of him." It just
So gross.
and what got me the most about that is Carl's story probably mirrors thousands of stories like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Thousands of stories of people, men, women, trans, hetero, it doesn't matter. People were treated this terribly.
And they don't
And
actually touch on this, but I think they don't talk on it a lot. Did Carl say that he was on the woman's side of the camp?
he didn't I don't think they said
Okay.
I don't think they said. It was more of a
Because they
Carl was
wouldn't let
in
him recognize his gender. They would only let
no,
him
but
recognize what was
they
between
put
his
him
legs.
with the other people that were being used for sex.
Mhm.
So I think it was a mix of genders in there.
Gotcha.
Um
The
so
irony of officers raping men and imprisoning those same men for being gay.
because it's as long as they're acting like it's a hate thing
Mhm.
and they're doing it to hurt this person and not for their
Mhm.
own pleasure, then it's not real and it's not
Mhm.
they're not gay,
Mhm.
which is ridiculous.
Mhm.
I want to talk about Birdie's hope for a little bit.
Mhm.
Birdie remains hopeful all the way. We get out of we survive this crazy hunt by the American soldiers for him. We survive the boat rides. We survive the ferry. We get all the way to New York City. We make it through customs, and he is still hopeful. Gertie is still alive.
Yeah.
He calls for Roy.
Yeah.
Roy calls out his name back, and then Roy calls for Gertie, which even spikes his hope more.
Yeah.
Was Bertie partially delusional or being hopeful? Like, what?
Well, I don't know what he was, but I was the same, because as soon as Roy called out Gert, I was like, oh my gosh, he did make it. He made it. He made it.
That's exactly how I felt.
And
I was like, oh my God, happy tears, but that's not how this works. Which is
incredibly unbelievable. And here's the thing about this book that I have to give credit. I feel a lot of times in these historical fiction, the women looking away stories, they always want to have a nice happy ending with a clean bow tied at the end. And that's just not the reality of what this war was. It's just not the reality.
And, you know,
like we read that one, the Book of Names. Was that what it was?
The Book of Lost Names.
Book of Lost Names. And that book ended with them reuniting, which is absolutely absurd.
Which I get that people need a happily ever after. But historical fiction, especially historical fiction on one of the most horrendous things human beings have ever done to human beings, I don't think you can polish it that shiny. I don't like a turd, still a turd at the end of the day, right? And I was hopeful with him, but I also felt delusional with him, you know? And there was just nothing I felt you could do to really change that. I think he was always like that.
And I'm not saying that there weren't happy endings, but it was not going to be a happy ending for this story. It was very smart of the author not to do that. And also, and I'll send this to you, Molly, so you can link it below. But in case you don't know, listeners, the last living survivor of Auschwitz just died in February of this year. So just last month. The last one. So
that wasn't that long ago.
That was not that long ago, folks. It was not that long ago.
But
for those people who don't know, Ruby Bridges is still alive too in the U.S. She was the one that broke the color barrier.
She's in her 60s. She's barely.
She's not that old.
No. I think the happy ending comes after the book's over. You know what I mean? When they're settled, when they're in the Midwest, when they're hiding in plain sight, as Bertie says.
I mean, I hope so, but we do get word from Roy that they now have Nazis looking to gather up the queer people, which I did not know happened, and I would be curious to fact check that one. Because they were letting in Nazis so they could help them track down queer individuals in the United
they were
States.
Giving them passports, like red government official passports. It's gross.
Which I want to fact check that. The reason is because there is historically, one of the things we learn about is that there are Nazi hunters, like that through history, like hunted down the Nazis that fled. So
that's a job I wanted back then. That's a job I'd take.
I feel like we need to fact check that one.
Is there a hero in this novel?
That's a good question.
Bertie calls himself a coward several times. He makes it seem
he is the one that gets them out, though. I mean, here's the thing: Carl being able to speak English really helped them.
Yep.
Bertie never giving up really helped them. Sophie standing behind her man, never giving up. That really helped them. Roy coming to wait on the docks every day for a week so he doesn't miss them. That helped them. The neighbor, who it turns out was a Jewish woman, helping hide him. That really helped them. But is there a hero? I don't think there is. I don't think there is.
I, like Carl, was very concerned about what was going to happen to the animals after they left the farm.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big concern for me. So I know I've missed a bunch of stuff. So let's wrap up here and talk about what I missed and what you want to talk about that I didn't bring up.
Okay, so I want to talk about why I rated this book the way that I did. So
Okay.
I actually, surprisingly, rated this book higher than you did. I rated this book 3.75 stars. And to me, what kept it from being a 4-star book was specifically the things I'm going to mention now. There is talk in this book and things that happen in this book that do not belong in this story. Number one,
Agreed.
Birdie and Gert have sex with each other.
That bothers me so much.
Birdie was into Sophie. They had already started dating. Gert was with Roy, who was an American, and Gert had just gotten his American citizenship so that he could go between the two countries easier. And they are drunk and stoned and they have sex. And it is fairly descriptive of what they're doing.
Descriptive.
And I don't think that was necessary.
No.
So that was number one. Number two was when Birdie and Sophie are fleeing from the Nazis to get out of Berlin to get to Ulm.
Mm-hmm.
Birdie is thinking about the fact that it's embarrassing people are going to see his sex toys. And not necessarily because it's sex toys and that's taboo, but because he felt like they were an extension of himself, which makes sense because he didn't have the parts that he wanted to have or that he felt he should have. So that makes sense. But why is that something you're concerned about while you're fleeing Nazis? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then the third thing was his concern about the last time that Gert had, and this is a direct quote, a release. He's very concerned that the last time that Gert had sex with somebody who cared for him. And he wishes he would have done it again because at least he cared for him. None of that belonged in this book.
That was part of my reason for the length for my rating. The length I feel for this story was too long.
I read it in like 3 days, so to me it didn't feel long. But the narrator for the audiobook was so fucking slow. I had it up to 1.5 and it was still too slow.
My rating is length. Like, I understand that sexuality and sex go hand in hand, but I do not think we needed to talk about Birdie's sex life in the middle of them for World War II.
Mm-hmm.
We could have insinuated there was one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, excuse me. A burp and a yawn at the same time.
And I mean, it was different because he did talk about how he and Sophie had sex regularly. The specifics of the sex toys was just an odd choice to me. I don't need the specifics of how they were having sex. I don't need that. That doesn't belong in this book.
It's not that kind of book.
No. I really think it took away from the heart of this book.
And it makes the reader feel uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable.
And you're trying to find compassion for Birdie. And this is something that was obviously very near and dear to Birdie. Fine. It just didn't sit well with me. Maybe that's because
I'm not fleeing from my life and being worried that someone's going to find my vibrator. Like, that's just not realistic.
I couldn't even tell you where it is right now.
You don't know where your vibrator is.
I have an off-pod conversation.
Molly, it is very concerning that you don't know where it is.
I have a closet full of boxes that haven't been unpacked from our bedroom from the last move because there isn't places for them.
Well, so it is sad. That's sad. You need to.
I don't need it. I don't need it.
Okay. Need and want are two different things.
Valid.
This conversation does not belong in this episode either.
Just cut that all out. Oh my god. Okay. Final thoughts.
I don't hate that I read this. It's not one that I would recommend because it's just not my thing. But I do feel like the story itself was important because I think we got a different look at World War II.
Did this book move me? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Did it give me a viewpoint of a trans person's life that I've never seen before? Absolutely. Did it give me a point of history I needed to see? Again, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But do I want to read Milo Todd again? I'm sorry, no.
Mm-mm. No.
No. No. You want to talk about next week?
Yes, but before we do that, don't forget, you can go to beawesomereadbooks.com and order from Carpe Librum using our code New Things 2026. And that will get you $5 off an order of $25 or more, which really, if you buy one t-shirt, you're getting it at a discount because I'm pretty sure that's about what the t-shirts cost.
Yeah, and it might even cover, like the $5 might even cover shipping if I'm right.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
anyway.
Yeah, go do it. Next week. Next week, we are reading this book.
Oh, nope.
We're reading this book, Soul Match, by Rebecca Danzenbaker. And here's the thing about Rebecca. She's from Virginia.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. I am so obsessed with this book. I am almost halfway done with it. And Liv read the synopsis and stole the physical copy from me and ran.
I am only 82 pages in. But
that's okay.
We are mutuals on TikTok with Rebecca. And was very excited, kept seeing her promoting this book, and just the vibes and the synopsis that she was giving and all the marketing that she was personally doing. I was like, this book is going to be amazing. And
it's
then
so good.
It's been so fucking good everywhere. It won awards. It was one of the best sellers from last year for YA.
It is so good.
Which we'll talk more about next week. But I will say, this book, if you like dystopian mid-aughts books like Divergent and
this is so selection coded.
And the selection, all of that is what you're going to get from this book.
It's so good.
So good.
Actually, get off here so I can keep listening.
Okay. That's enough of that. All right. So that's all I got. What do you got? Anything else?
This comes after that.
Yeah.
Can't spell treason without
T.
Without T. Because I forgot about it this month.
Yeah. We actually have 5 books this month because of it being
the extra
March
week.
It has an extra week. Yeah.
We should give it to February next year.
That's not really... I don't have the energy for this conversation. Okay. All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on Book Besties. Don't forget to like, subscribe. The views discussed here are those of April and Molly, not those of anyone else. Today's book was The Lilac People by Milo Todd. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Carpe Librum, the shop that has bookish things for bookish people. And right now, you can save $5 off on your order of $25 or more using our code NEWTHINGS2026. Your book besties are Molly Biggs and April Watkins. Editing by Thomas Watkins, and music is Sleep Sweetly by Brigida. Don't forget to follow the Book Besties on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you'd like to contact the Book Besties, please email us at bookbestiespod@gmail.com or visit our website, bookbestiespodcast.com. Until next time, besties, get lost in your favorite book.